Okay, we're in front of what was the Bennett's right here. It used to have a butcher shop attached to it where all of the meats that came into town would be taken care of. And people would walk into Bennett's and go sit at a bench and they would wait their turn. There was also a Cracker Barrel waiting for them every time they visited. And they would wait until somebody came to them and would either get their order or get a piece of paper with everything they wanted on it and go pick out their items for them. And that's how
Awesome.
things went down back then.
Yeah, but now this is not the Cracker Barrel where you eat the chicken and dumplings, right?
It's not that kind of Cracker Barrel.
Okay.
But I'm sure they enjoyed it. Hey there, believe it or not, this used to be the post office. When it burned down in around 1923, they had to have a makeshift post office. They had to have something for the town. So back then what they did was you contacted Sears and got a 2-bedroom makeshift kit. They sent everything, put this together. Then back when plumbing became an indoor thing, they decided to add on to the back of the house where now they have the facilities for your restroom and your kitchen.
Awesome. So you couldn't have enough wood to build these places, could you? You ordered it from Sears.
Everything came from Sears back then.
Kind of like the Amazon
You
of
did
the
it
past.
yourself.
Yeah.
And I bet you've driven past that building 100 times and never know. But now you do.
Alrighty, so we are now on the south side of the road, and turning to our handy dandy map, we gotta turn the page.
Turn in the page.
Sorry about that. We are now here on the south side, and we're going to talk about all of these buildings, marching all the way up until we get to what was originally called the Mulvey Mercantile, and then became the Wiedemann store, and now it's called the Old Store. And it is the same brick building there that was there when the town started in 1903. The first building we're going to look at actually hopped across the road here, and it was the first bank that we had here in town. Ultimately, all of this town burned down except for the brick buildings, which basically in 1923, I believe, those buildings were the Historical Society Museum building, the Old Store building, and I think part of this building over here that now Kate Shore is building on. But anyway, the bank was here, and then as we walked along, and now tell me this isn't cool. The next place that would have been right here was a place called Roy Gardens Produce and Cream Store. Cream. Can you imagine that? Yeah, that would be really stellar.
That's the sweet
Next
spot.
to it was the drugstore. So that was called Davis's Drug. And then next to that was the barber shop. Now, Piedmont was becoming like a one-stop place. You come here and you're going to find everything you could ever want. The sad thing, the big fire in 1923 or around that time destroyed everything that was wood here, and the town had to be rebuilt. Let's move on down.
No, we're still going. You
Okay.
can cut it.
Okay, so as we march along, we're going to see a couple of little small stores. We talked about the barber shop. This is a harness shop. The name that says is Conway's or Cordway's harness shop. And then following that was one of the centers of life here for quite a while. Eventually it disappeared. It was called the Joint. And the Joint was definitely a place that kids wouldn't go to. It didn't last very long, but it was a fun place. And it was sitting right next to the pool hall, which you could imagine was quite the place to be. One of the big hangouts here in town. We're going to march down the road a little bit more. As you might see here, Kate Short is creating a whole new Piedmont, what was it called? Piedmont development. I'm forgetting the name of what he's calling it, but anyway, it's going to be again a one-stop fun place. We are the last two buildings we're going to cover before we go into the old store. The last two, one was a meat market, and the other one was a harness and shoe shop. So you're covering most everything you might ever need, but then ultimately, your store, the place to go, is what's now called the old store. Previously, as I mentioned, Mulvey's Mercantile, and then later it became the Wiedemann store and the Wiedemann and Son store, until finally we have the old store as it is today.